Good afternoon. I'm Darrell Sutton, the 67th President of the State Bar of Georgia Young Lawyers Division. And Damon Elmore has asked me to speak to you today about what it takes to occupy this office, the YLD President's office at the State Bar of Georgia building in Atlanta. As many of you know, I held many leadership positions in the YLD before becoming president. I was a local rep for several years before being the co-editor of the YLD newsletter for 2 years, then running a successful campaign for YLD secretary and then YLD treasurer and president-elect, and ultimately was YLD president during the 2013-2014 bar year. It's important to me that before you consider a run for a YLD office and ultimately to become YLD president, that you think about why you're going to do it. If self-promotion or self-advancement is the primary reason why you want to run for a YLD leadership position or YLD office, I say stop right there and don't do it any further. While self-advancement is certainly a factor in any decision to run for any office or leadership position in any organization, in my opinion, you will fail yourself and fail this organization if that's the primary reason why you want to be a leader in the YLD. The reason for that is because of the immense time commitment and immense commitment of both your own personal resources, financial and otherwise, and also the sacrifice that you have to make, both of your time at work and with your family, in order to do this successfully. And if self-advancement is the only reason why you want to do it, or the primary reason why you want to do it, you will be dissatisfied ultimately. From a time standpoint, it's hard to quantify because for everyone it's different, but I'm a firm believer that anything, if done well, takes a lot of time, and I put a lot of time into being both a YLD officer and ultimately YLD president. One of my biggest regrets, though, is that I didn't spend enough time on the front end planning my YLD presidency. I think the most successful presidents are those who spend a lot of time both during their year as treasurer and then their year as president-elect, putting in place the plans that they need in order to implement the programs or see the programs that they want to implement implemented. I would have put a lot more time, if I had to do it all over again, I would have put a lot more time into planning during my president-elect year and probably even before that. I think the best example of this is Amy Howell. She put a ton of time in, and Stephanie Kirian also put a ton of time in, both in their year as treasurer and president-elect, planning and getting the foundation for the programs that they wanted installed as president. I should have and didn't do that, and I wish I had. But regardless of that, it takes, once you assume a leadership position in the YLD, it's an incredibly time-consuming process. I mean, your year as secretary and treasurer takes some time. You should be attending all the YLD meetings, and quite frankly, should be attending committee meetings and other events of the YLD while you're in those positions. But beginning your year as president-elect and then your year as president and immediate past president, not only are you involved in the Young Lawyers Division, attending all those meetings and attending committee meetings and attending events, but you also have Big Bar responsibilities. You're a member of the Big Bar's Board of Governors, you're a member of the Big Bar's Executive Committee, and then you're a liaison to at least 2 or 3 Big Bar committees. Then on top of that, you hold leadership positions both in the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism, the CCLC, and other bar-related organizations. In short, it's a meeting once every couple of weeks, and it's generally a meeting outside of Atlanta or somewhere around the state or even somewhere around the Southeast once a month. And as you can imagine, just the time commitment for those meetings in and of themselves are it's very heavy. Then on top of that, you talk about all the time you put into planning your year as president, implementing the programs while you're president, and then planning for all of the meetings, both YLD meetings and otherwise. And the time commitment is overwhelming. I put it this way: for every week that I was president, I spent at least a day each of those weeks devoted to my work as YLD president. That doesn't include weeks where I had meetings on top of that, so it could have been 2, 3, 4 days a week, some weeks, but at least 1 day a week simply devoted only to the YLD. If you don't have that time or you don't have the ability to set aside that amount of time, then this isn't something for you. If you do, though, then I encourage you to run and I encourage you to participate. This organization, the reason why it's important that this organization have good, strong, devoted leaders is because just like any other organization, it is only as strong as its leadership. So I hope that if this is something you're considering, that you do a couple of things. You think long and hard about why you want to do it, and that you ultimately conclude that it's because you feel strongly about this organization and its advancement, at least as a primary motivation for doing it. Then think long and hard about the time that it will take to do it effectively and whether you can actually commit that amount of time. It's not only sacrifice from work, but it's sacrifice from family and friends and anything else you would be doing with that time also. And then you think long and hard about the programming that you think would best benefit this organization and continue it on a forward path that it has been on for so long. This organization, more than any other within the bar, has produced great programming year in and year out, and that is a direct result of the strength of the leadership that we've had. And after you think of those three things, if you can commit the time, if you can commit the reason why you want to do this, and you can commit to developing and implementing good, decent programming that will continue to advance this organization, then I say run for a YLD office. Thanks.